Have you ever wondered what keeps you right to express your opinion freely? What protects you from being discriminated against? Or what allows you to stand up against injustice even when it comes from the government itself? This power doesn't come from wealth or position. They come from something far more powerful, the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Constitution of India. Welcome to Fluky Facts, where we simplify complex concepts for better understanding. Today we will explore fundamental rights, the foundation of Indian democracy. The fundamental rights are basic human freedoms guaranteed to every citizen of India by the Constitution. They are designed to ensure liberty, equality, and justice, the very pillars of which our democracy stands. These rights are enshrined in Part 3 of Constitution from Article 12 to 35. They protect individuals from arbitrary actions by the states and ensure a life of dignity. In simple terms, fundamental rights are what make citizens free, equal, and secure. Before we move forward, think about this. What makes a democracy meaningful if citizens cannot speak freely or live without fear? That's exactly why the makers of Constitution gave us these rights to remind every citizen that freedom and justice are not favors from the state. They are entitlements protected by law. The idea of fundamental rights didn't start with India. It was inspired by the several global charters, like the US Bill of Rights 1791, the French Declaration of Rights 1789, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and the Constitution Assembly studied these models and carefully framed a set of rights suited to India's diversity and challenges. On 26 January 1950, when the Constitution came into force, these rights became the moral and legal soul of Indian democracy. The fundamental rights are contained in Part 3 of Indian Constitution, Article 12 to 35. They are applied primarily to citizens and, in some cases, to all persons living in India. These rights are justiciable, meaning if they are violated, you can go directly to the Supreme Court or High Courts for protections. In fact, this is what makes them fundamental. They are legally enforceable. The Constitution originally listed 7 rights, but after the 44th Amendment, there are 6 fundamental rights today: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. Each of these is unique, yet all are interconnected. Together, they form the core of our civil liberties. Imagine living in a country where you cannot speak your mind, choose your job, or practice your faith freely. Sounds impossible for today, right? That's because our fundamental rights make sure that never happens in India. Equality is the foundation of justice. Under this right, every person is equal before the law. No one can be discriminated against on religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Untouchability and titles are abolished. This ensures that India, despite its diversity, remains united by the principle of equality. Freedom is the heartbeat of democracy. It includes freedom of speech and expression, freedom of assemble, freedom to assemble peacefully, freedom to form association or unions, freedom to move freely and choose one's profession. These rights empower citizens to participate in political and social life without fear. However, freedom doesn't mean an absence of limits. It comes with reasonable restrictions for public order and national security. These rights protect individuals from human trafficking, forced labor, and child labor. No one can made to work against their will, and children below 14 years cannot be employed in hazardous industries. It's a right that upholds the dignity of every human being, ensuring that progress doesn't come at the cost of exploitation. India is a secular nation, and this right protects that spirit. Every citizen has the freedom to profess, practice, and propagate any religion. The state cannot promote or interfere with religious matter unless it's to maintain public order or morality. The right preserves religious harmony in a culturally diverse country like ours. Cultural and educational rights protect the interest of minorities, ensuring they can preserve their language, culture, and tradition. They also have the right to establish and manage their own educational institutions. This ensures that India's diversity is not only protected, it's celebrated. A right to constitutional remedies. This is also called as heart and soul of the Constitution. According to D.R. Ambedkar, it gives citizens the power to approach the Supreme Court or High Courts if any of their fundamental rights are violated. Courts can issue writs like habeas corpus, mandamus, and certiorari to ensure justice. This right transforms all others from theory into enforceable reality. Dr. Ambedkar once said, "The rights are gifts of law and not of men." Think about it. Without legal backing, rights are just promises. But with the Constitution, they became guarantees, enforceable and protected. Rights are powerful, but not absolute. The state can impose reasonable restrictions in the interest of public order, security of the nation, decency and morality, contempt of court, or defamation. This balance ensures that freedom doesn't become an excuse for chaos and democracy remains disciplined. Fundamental rights are the soul of our constitution. They protect individuals from government overreach, promote equality and justice, strengthen the rule of law, encourage unity among citizens of different communities. In short, they ensure that India remains free, fair, and democratic. To conclude, fundamental rights are not just legal rules, they are moral values woven into our national identity. They empower citizens, limit the power of the governments, and uphold the dignity of every individual. Our democracy survives not because of leaders or policies, but because these rights protect the people and the people protect these rights. Before you go, here's a question for the civil service aspirants. Explain the significance of fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution. How do they ensure the protection of individual liberty? And if you want to strengthen your basics, check out our previous video on what is inflation and its causes and what is Human Development Index. The links are available in the description below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Fluky Facts, your companion for mastering complex concepts and facts. Hit the notification bell and join us who simplify complex topics from the constitution to the economy. Only on Fluky Facts. Think unlimited.